Okay. That's enough of that. No, that isn't the only thing I got out of this film, which at the heart of things is a touching story about a young man's first love based on the novel of the same name. Yet the thing is, this love story at the heart of things is not really where the heart of things lied. I will admit, the love story I found to be one of the least compelling aspects of this film, which is interesting for a few reasons. Not only because this is a film marketing itself as a love story, but because I also enjoyed both performances of both men within the love story. Even Armie Hammer brand baking soda? But after this performance, I'm probably gonna have to stop calling him baking soda. Ironically, the best performance of Armie's career thus far is shadowed by breakout star Timothée Chalamet, the other half of the love story. And Chalamet is having an immense year, featured in 2 Best Picture nominated films and garnering himself a Best Actor nomination as well. And wow, does this kid deserve it, not only for his subtle performance, but for his commitment towards the art as well. Already fluent in French, he learned Italian and how to play the piano simply for this role. But it was baking soda and Chalamet's partnership that made the on-screen relationship somewhat notable. Yes, for once, Hammer works with his on-screen partner, something I hadn't seen from him before when he worked with Superman, Tonto, or himself in The Social Network, and it's actually the juxtaposition between the clumsy, juvenile, and naive Elio, played by Chalamet, and the seasoned Oliver, played by Hammer, that I actually found interesting. But the reason I say the romance is not really at the heart of the film is because I found myself gravitating towards the periphery, the friends and family of Elio, the supporting characters. They, to me, were much more interesting than the love story. And this, in my opinion, both adds and detracts from the story. Obviously, I cannot comment on the authenticity of a young man's burgeoning bisexuality. Well, maybe it's not obvious, but the fact is what I can comment on is conflict and story format. Elio is a very privileged character. He lives in the north of Italy. He's intelligent, cultured, worldly, just like his parents are, who are very supportive. He speaks 3 languages and plays 2 instruments. Basically, everything comes easy for him. Mostly everything. The reason I bring this up is because the only real conflict comes from the inner turmoil of Chalamet's character. Elio's dealing with his feelings for Oliver. Now, Chalamet's performance is brilliant and subtle and touching, but for me, it wasn't enough. The reason I bring that up is Elio's support system, including his aforementioned parents, are perfectly understanding of the situation, as is his girlfriend. Everybody discovers what his deep dark secret is, and they love him for it. And that's beautiful. But it's not very interesting. I really hope that everyone in the world has a support system like this. I really do. But cinematically, I just felt that's not enough tension. Flashback to last year's Best Picture winner and a review of mine that nobody watched, Moonlight. A not dissimilar story, but aside from just trying to find oneself, the main character actually went through a lot more, and that created much more interesting rise in action. Even in Moonlight, granted he had a positive support system, but he also had tension in his story. A common thematic device used in a lot of the Best Picture nominees this year is that of compassion, where characters support one another no matter what in very difficult situations. And Call Me By Your Name featured one of my favorite of those situations. No coincidence that Michael Stuhlbarg is in 1/3 of the 9 Best Picture nominated films this year, because this character actor gives every performance his heart and soul and really contributes to any film he's in. He plays Elio's father, Dr. Perlman, and he really reflects those central thematic devices of love and compassion. And in fact, he has such a brilliant speech at the end of this film. It's one of those rare, memorable movie moments that will really stick with you, much like the character. Granted, I said characters like this don't really create tension, but I guess it couldn't be any other way. One thing that could change was the adapted ending. Now, I say adapted when, ironically enough, it's adapted from the novel, but they actually changed the original novel's ending, which I thought was much more poignant, because the original novel actually ends when Oliver and Elio reunite decades later. Now, while the ending of the film was also poignant, it was very open-ended, and in fact, while the emotional impact was there, when it comes to connection to the story, it left me wanting more. So in a sense, writer-director Luca Guadagnino did his job because he made me want more. And apparently they're planning a sequel, so maybe we will actually get the second half of this story. Ultimately though, it's the inviting warmth of this film, the environments of northern Italy, the memories of summers gone by and loved ones that have left us, that really makes this one of the Best Picture nominees. But ironically enough, it's one of my least favorites. Just like last year, I'll skip the whole earn it or burn it thing and give you 2 ratings out of 9 Best Picture nominees. One rating will be my personal preference, the other, how likely this movie is to win the Best Picture Academy Award. Call Me By Your Name is fairly low on my list. Okay, it's dead last when it comes to personal preference, simply because I think the second half of the story is the one that I'll find interesting. But in seeing what Moonlight did last year and knowing that The Shape of Water and 3 Billboards might split the vote, I actually rank this the 3rd most likeliest film to win Best Picture. So be sure to check out all 9 reviews on the Best Picture nominees this year. Look for the Oscar in the thumbnail, but until then, and until next time, school's out. Real students, thanks for watching this review on one of the Best Picture nominated films. If you want to see all 9 videos on all 9 Best Picture nominated films, then of course click that playlist. You can like, subscribe, leave a comment, click that stupid notification bell, but don't forget to join me on March 4th, live during the Oscar ceremony, for a bit of levity, fun, Canadian wit, because I will be live tweeting during the Oscars.